Yeah. So I think for you, I think you're sad or whatever because of your recent breakup. Because I feel like that's a thing that has actually changed recently. So you're probably just adjusting to like this time. What would you say to that?
I think it's a part of it. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I definitely think, I mean, to say it's not a part of it, I think would be not accurate, but I think it's a part of it. I do think it's like a transitioning time in my life too, where I've also, me being who I am and very driven, I've also never really wanted something that I didn't go get and not able to get. If I wanted abs, I can go get abs. If I wanted a Rolex, I can get a Rolex. If I always make sure that I do it smartly too, which is another thing that I could talk about. But anyway, it's like anything that I wanted, I could work towards it and make a lot of progress towards. Whereas now, like, I always had this vision in my mind ever since I was like probably 18 that, you know, when I'm 30, that's when I'm going to be more like almost like in a retirement kind of stage, like not retirement, but more of like a work-life balance where I can have kids, a wife, and I'm going to be there for them. I'm going to have time for them and I have more time freedom.
Yeah.
And now you can't just create that. I can't just create that where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go get a wife, because there's again, same way with being wealthy, there's a lot of other steps that I had to take. I'm not just going to go buy a Rolex if the Rolex is going to stop me from my financial future. I'm only going to buy the Rolex when it doesn't affect me anymore.
Yeah.
Same thing with a wife. I'm not just going to, I could go just get a wife and be married, but I'm not just going to go and get married because I want to fulfill this goal. It's got to be a lot of other preset standards that are there beforehand, but it's not just, it's not as easy, I would say, as making money or like being in shape. It's a lot of difficulties and realizations and like now for me, I have to look at myself and be like, okay, like kind of like what he was talking about is like, who do I need to become in order to be a good husband too? Because I think, I mean, if I'm being honest, I'll be real vulnerable here. Sometimes there is a little bit of doubt on the person that I could be in a relationship, because like I would say that I am pretty intense sometimes.
Yeah, you are
very blunt in the way that I am. So then it's like, can I be a good significant other? You know? And so,
well, I'll tell you this, right? So sometimes I'm a bad husband. Sometimes I'm a bad father for sure, but I'm trying my best, and that's life.
Yeah.
This is so weird to talk about, but were your parents perfect? No. My parents weren't perfect. Brianna's parents, I don't know them. Were they perfect? No. Everyone has their flaws. So even the fact that you're already going to be a great dad and father because you're aware of this. Not most people. There's a lot of people out there that they don't give a crap. They have kids and they don't see them. They're doing X, Y, Z. So you don't have to worry about that. You're just putting a lot of pressure on yourself. But I think with you, while you are in this period where you're single, what you could do is just keep building your wealth. So when you do have kids, you're even in a better position where you're like, dude, now I really can just take 2 years off.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think that I'm in a place like financially that I could. It's just not a place with responsibility wise that it would like affect a lot of other people. Like financially, I can do that. But for me, I'm not just going to double down. So this is something that I've done differently than what I've done in my past. Is before, all I did was double down on what I'm good at. All right, hey, I'm just going to work out more. I'm going to go make more money. I'm going to get more ripped. That way people will like, you know, want me more. Like I'm going to go make more money so I'm more desirable. But again, it's an avoidance mechanism that I'm not allowing myself to do. And now I'm kind of like sitting in it a little bit more. And honestly, like I feel like God's with me a lot more through it.
Yeah.
So like now it's actually, I'm going to face the trauma. I'm going through a lot of different, like, I mean, some of it's counseling, some of it's like a book that I'm going through where it's going through some hard stuff that I went through as a child. And so just dealing with it as opposed to avoiding it is very difficult for me. Yeah. And also, I've talked to you earlier about this. There's a difference in confidence and self-worth. All those other things that I do will build my confidence. I'm a confident person, like because I know I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And because I do it and I'm very disciplined at it, that builds confidence, but it doesn't build self-worth where I feel like I'm just worthy in general without doing anything. That's what I believe self-worth is like, how can I be worthy of something without having to perform? And I don't feel like I am. I feel like the performance has to be there. I feel like I have to do certain things in order to receive love, which is like what I'm working through now.
Yeah. I know Ryan and some other people would be like, you just need to get closer to Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, if you get closer to Jesus, then you don't have to do stuff in order to feel love or receive whatever you got to receive. Because I actually don't deal with that. I've never felt like I wasn't worthy of love or whatever. So that's interesting. But how have you been working on getting closer to Jesus?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, again, sitting in that instead of like me getting up and like going to work out and getting my mind busy and like making money. It's kind of like I can stop thinking about it. Now I just sit there and I'm praying, I'm meditating, I'm listening to the worship music. I'm just feeling the emotions that I would normally not feel and like that I don't want to feel, you know, like feeling sad sucks.
Yeah.
And so I'm also in the belief of like, I can change how I feel. Let me just go work out, make myself feel really good. But sometimes it's okay to like sit in it and to be with God and like allow yourself to actually feel how you genuinely feel instead of like, I just change it. I don't like to feel sad. So I can switch it. Yeah. I just go put myself in a different scenario. So now it's allowing myself to question also why, you know, and is it true, and remind myself in truth. Obviously I read my Bible every morning. I read one chapter of the Bible, and that's usually when I'm praying and stuff. And that's obviously super helpful too, just to be with God in the mornings, especially in the mornings. I mean, it's just game changer. So
yeah.
Also there's a book that I've been going through. I think it's called Man Talks. It's by Connor Beaton, which is, again, he talks a lot about avoidant and anxious attachment styles. And a lot of it does get caused from trauma when you were younger. And so I'm going through that and, again, questioning, where did I receive love from? Why is it so hard for me? And like, why do I feel like I have to perform? And honestly, a lot of it did come from how my parents were. And if I got bad grades or something, I would be pretty punished. If I talked back, I would be punished. If I didn't perform a certain way, I would not receive love. And honestly, I questioned a lot of my parents' love for me in general, just based on how things played out.